Welcome back to CHGO Bears After Dark, presented by ComEd. Make sure you go over to ComEd.com/clean for all your energy needs. ComEd helping keep the lights on for us here on CHGO Bears After Dark. And we're back here on our usual Monday night spot. 2 Monday night football games that we have underway. The Titans and the Dolphins and the Lions and the Seahawks here coming up soon. So we appreciate everybody hanging out with us here. I am your host, Greg Braggs Jr. Corey Wooten is doing some family things in Disney World. Adam Rank is back in his usual Monday night spot. And joining us here once again is our guy, Shayne Marsaw from the Tape Never Lies Network. How we doing tonight, gentlemen? How you doing, Shane? I'll start out with you.
It's always good after a win. I listened to a little bit of your spot earlier today, Greg, and you and I had a private convo last week, and it's makes what we do a lot easier after a win. That is for sure. So I'm looking forward to it, getting into this tonight, but I'll give a little nugget. We have a quarterback.
Oh, you're on spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen the game. By the way, this is like the 3 families coming together: CHGO, the Tape Never Lies, and the Sick Podcast Network. I do know a number of things. Whenever I'm on with Braggs, I always, I'm not a middle worthy.
Oh,
I'm not Paul Lind all of a sudden.
That's a term of endearment, Adam, because I like to put the guest in the middle.
No.
Yeah. So
Well, I also know, because when I come on with Braggs, I have to be right up close to my camera to line it up. Because normally I'm the only person I know who has a lav and an earpiece, like a professional. And I usually like to kick back and relax, but I'm so far away. I got to kind of get up in the action. And now it's aesthetically pleasing because Shane, no, you got to leave it like this. It's good. But I got to tell you, I'm disappointed. And I'm not disappointed in the Bears or anything like that. I'm disappointed in our boy Braggs. Because I gave him an opportunity. I go back because I thought typically I come in around 7:15, and Braggs was panicking, and I'm like, go monologue for 15 minutes, and he couldn't do it. Go do it. But you had to have Big Brother come in with you. Well, I'm happy to see Shane, so I'm not too upset.
He was so nervous, Adam. He's like,
nervous Purvis over there.
Yep.
He was like the kid in that Helen Hunt movie where she played the quarterback princess, and the kid.
I've told our guy Jake Flanagan, GM of CHGO, that I would be happy to do a solo show where I just curse at the chat for 1 hour straight.
Oh my God, you should do that.
I want to do that. I haven't gotten green lit for this project, but that's next on the docket for sure.
I think you should do a solo show, breaking down tape, Braggs. That's what everybody's
breaking down tape. You know what's funny? I have to question though, Shane. Is it easier? I feel like it's easier for Phil when the team loses. Because then you can be like, guys, hey, Caleb's my dude. I love him. But the film shows, but this coach who should be out selling shoes is all, I feel
I will say that I know exactly what you're talking about, but I will say this. He hasn't been wrong on that.
No, he has not. He's not missed yet. No, that's very evident.
Yeah, he is not a fan of Matt Eberflus, and he's definitely not a fan of Chris Morgan or Shane Waldron. So,
well, let's get into that then, Shane, because the other Shane Waldron, has certainly drawn the ire of Chicago Bears fans here thus far.
Yep.
And it's been a work in progress, but now all of a sudden here, the last couple weeks, you're starting to see visual evidence of Caleb Williams' development, which I've tried to make the case like, hey, he deserves some credit for that. That's big part of his job here. And now here in week 4, maybe a few weeks too late, but all of a sudden now they've found their groove in the run game. And we understand that they played the Rams, but at the same time, they certainly made big strides, on the ground. So for you, has Shane Waldron done anything to try to pull you back into keeping an open mind on what he can be as an offensive coordinator for the Bears?
Not yet for me. This has been life as a Chicago. Just take analyst and looking at any tape right out of it. Just as a Chicago Bears fan, we've lived this life forever. I did a show before the Indy game, and I said, what's it going to be like when we get out of the Indy game and Caleb Williams has 38 pass attempts against the, last ranked rushing defense in the NFL? And they blew that out of the water. We went from 38 to 52. The Bears, for whatever reason, seem like they can game plan through the media, and they're just smarter than everybody else, and they're going to pull the okey doke. Khalil Herbert is our goal line back. He didn't get a carry. They just said that last week.
Right.
They do weird things like that. I need to see more of it week in and week out, Greg. You and I have talked about the quarterbacks that this team has beat under Matt Eberflus.
They finally got one.
Yeah, they got one. Exactly. They got one. So it starts there. And they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. Nobody in this organization deserves the benefit of the doubt. The silver lining with Waldron is Caleb Williams, to me, has progressed every single week, weeks 1 through 4 in the NFL. And that is a big deal. But is that sustainable with him getting sacked an average of 4 times every single game? And he's getting hit hard even yesterday, but I know we can get into the nuances of everything, but I'm until further notice, I'm skeptical on Shane Waldron 100%.
Adam, we saw, from week 3 to week 4, they, are on the goal line and 4 straight stops. They're trying, wildcat and pistol, and it was an embarrassment for the team, the coaches, the players. Seemed like there was a lot of come to Jesus conversations during the week. And then all of a sudden here in week 4, they go to the jumbo package, the giant jumbo package with offensive lineman Doug Kramer in the backfield as the fullback, as Matt Eberflus called it. I guess God's play is his definition of this play, which then they also ran in the fourth quarter in a big 3rd and 1 situation. So, basically the same question to you as what I asked to Shane, like the adjustments that Shane Waldron has made. Were you impressed by those, or at least at the very least encouraged?
Well, a number of things that I saw that I was encouraged by was the dart that Caleb Williams threw to Cole Kmet, which shows more confidence in himself. The dart that he threw for the touchdown, which was equally impressive. And Brett Coleman of Underdog Fantasy, I ripped the video from him to put it out there as well from the All-22s, and really appreciate that. So that part of it looked great. What I really liked from a game plan situational type thing was, number one, the plays seemed to come in a lot faster, even to the point where they were running up tempo. That's an adjustment that he made to kind of not to appease, but to kind of put Caleb Williams in the position that he wants to be in, where he can go out and survey a defense and kind of move players around and do kinds of, those kind of things. Something that the guy in Washington doesn't do. So I think that that's impressive, and I love that they did that and they gave him the opportunity to do it. A number of times, too, I found myself yelling at the screen for him to dump it off to DeAndre Swift. That's why DeAndre Swift is on this team. Mm-hmm. And so at some point, I say, that's got to be on Caleb, and I again, I'm not going to absolve Shane Waldron of this, and I'm not saying that he's won me over, that he's the coordinator of the year or anything of that nature. But at the same time, it's incumbent on Caleb to start getting rid of the ball quicker. And if you don't trust the throw, if you don't think that you can make that throw, and we saw him get a little bit more confidence of trying to put the ball in the thimble, then dump it off to DeAndre. That's why he's on your team. Take the checkdowns. Okay, that's what Daniels is doing. Dump it down then. That's fine. Find your tight end, find your running back. Do that kind of stuff. We saw more of it this week. It comes back again, and listen, I understand that I come from a different place than you guys because of the 3 people on this panel. There was only one guy who is the AYSO Section 143 U6 through U10 Girls Coach of the Year, and that's me.
That's right.
So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to coaching now. But you have to just understand, it's never going to be perfect immediately. If we start seeing, if this is it, if these start improving. And like Shane was talking about, I'm not fully committed. I'm not going to sit here and declare that mission accomplished. I'm not going to be sitting there doing a press conference on an aircraft carrier saying it's done, but I'm encouraged by what I saw. And those small little details mean a lot to me. And let's see what happens moving forward over the next couple of weeks, especially against teams like Carolina and against teams like, we have Washington after the break. Was it Jacksonville? It's going to London.
Yeah.
Right. I do and I know what they said in the media about Khalil Herbert, but if their split is going to be the what we saw out of DeAndre Swift and Roschon, like I'm okay with it. I thought it worked, and I'm sorry if people's feelings get hurt and somebody feels left out, but it was highly effective, and I wouldn't want to change that just to appease a running back.
No, I get it. That certainly seemed like the 1-2 punch that they've been looking for and using them in the right spots. I think they said on the telecast that DeAndre Swift was the first running back to have 70 yards rushing and 70 yards receiving since Jeremy Langford, I think maybe in 2016. So that just kind of goes to show you, the improvement they made there. And then I think the other big thing, and I think I spoke to both of you guys about this at one point, but Robert Mays put out last week how bad the Bears have been on second down. And they were, 10%. They were getting like 5 of like 85 on second downs for first down conversions, which was like an 8%, clip. And the second worst team was the Panthers at an 18% clip. And now you see here in this game on Sunday, yesterday, the Bears and this is from Kevin Fishbane. He's adding to this point. Bears on second down, weeks 1 through 3, 2.6 yards per play, 19 of 41 passing for 124 yards, 10 first downs on 63 plays. Bears on second down on Sunday, this last week, for week 4, 6.7 yards per play, 10 of 10 passing for 107 yards and 10 first downs on 21 plays. So, a big adjustment. You see an adjustment in the run game. You're seeing an adjustment on second down. You're seeing the adjustment of 52 passes down to, into the mid 20s and a healthier balance of pass to run. So, that's a winning recipe. And I agree with you, Shane, that it's not sold, right. But at the same time, I have been trying to preach patience with people that are begging the bag man to return and start firing people on our post-game shows.
That's all Bears fans have is patience, man. 105 years of this.
Yeah, no, I get it. And so, but at the end of the day, when you see the personnel changes from week 1, the drastic personnel changes, Roschon Johnson inactive week 1, and then he's, one of your staples week 4. Yeah. Gerald Everett out-snapping Cole Kmet week 1. Then weeks 3 and 4, there's Cole Kmet being the playmaker that he's been the last few years. So Shane Waldron, as much as it's going to frustrate Bears fans to do this, I think he deserves a little latitude. I think the offensive line, Ryan Poles, thought he could make it through this year trying to patchwork an offensive line, and that's failed. That bet has already went bust here. And now they're just going to have to hope and pray they make it through a full season. Caleb Williams rookie season. So, those are the scary propositions, but at the end of the day, if they can just continue to get better, like they did last year where they started 0-4, but finished the season 7-6. Right now you're 2-2. You have an opportunity here with the Panthers and the Jaguars in the immediate future before the bye, 2 teams that are 1-3 and 0-4 on the season. And then after the bye with a little bit step up in competition with Washington right out the gate after the bye. And there's certainly a team playing with their hair on fire, but even still an opportunity for the Bears to stack some wins before they get into the gauntlet of their division play in second half of the season. Right now, they've lost 2 games in the AFC and 2 road games. Ultimately, they've won 7 straight at home, playing some good football. Defense is holding teams to 20 points or less. But I want to get your guys' thoughts on the schedule here in a minute. But before we do, I want to take a quick break to give our shout out here to ComEd. Our guys over at ComEd are always doing their thing for us. And so we will continue to show love to ComEd. And it's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. That's something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and the well-being of all of us who share it. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense. So business owners should go to comed.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to comed.com/clean. Go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come. And I also want to give a big shout out to everybody that showed up to our tailgate here for our second home game, week 4. Tailgate was another one that just really hit a home run. And I'm looking forward to everybody coming out next week against the Panthers. We'll be back at the corner of Wabash and Cermak. Always a great turnout, as you can see here. The official CHGO tailgate, best in the city, the gold standard. Our guys over at the Chicago Bears Tailgating Club, always a great host, and we have our spot there. So if you go to allchgo.com/events, you can get your tickets to that now. And if you become a diehard, you can get a discount on that event and head out to us, and you get a free shirt right out the gate. So, Shane, want to throw it to you. I know I gave some scheduling, thoughts, but I want to get your thoughts on it. I've been saying week 1 was a must win. Week 3 was a must win. This week against the Rams was a must win. Panthers game's a must win, because I'm looking at what the second half of the schedule is, and I'm like, stack these up while you got them now. Are you looking at this Panthers game, especially when you consider everything else that's on the table with how we've kind of made a mockery of them the last 2 years? This Panthers game a must win with Andy Dalton looking for some revenge.
Yeah, you can't lose the Panthers game at home. You can't. I mean, that you're right though. You got to stack them while you got them. Minnesota is playing a lot better than I thought that they're capable of. Jordan Love is back now. Start picking up those division games later in the week, or later in the season. But yeah, man, you can't, like you said, we'll see Jacksonville. I don't think that's going to be a walkover game, obviously going over to London and playing over there, but it would be typical Chicago for them to, ride this momentum train and get smacked in the face at home against Andy Dalton. We've lived that life so many times as Bears fans. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Can't do it, man. You put it perfectly. You got to stack these wins. Absolutely. And even away from that, and this isn't breaking news, and you guys both know this better than anybody. You want to see this ascension of Caleb Williams every single week. Just there's little things like, when was the last time that we were praising a Chicago Bears quarterback for sticking it out in the pocket until the last second to deliver a throw?
That was beautiful.
Yeah, the one to DJ Moore is crazy. I've watched
only that one, but there was a dump off too to DeAndre Swift where he got lit up too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did get lit up there. Yeah. Jared Verse was putting in some work on Braxton Jones, man. That's a whole nother story we can get into with the Bears offensive line. I mean, there could be everybody from Darnell Wright is not playing well, but everybody from Darnell Wright to the left, that could be all new everywhere.
Yep.
Something that we got to think about. But
so what do you think, Adam? 4-1 over the next 5, you get to 6-3, then all you got to do is go 4-4 the rest of the way in the gauntlet that is the second half. You with me? 4-1.
I like it, but I do know that anytime you go up into a game where you just assume that you're going to win, I don't think the Bears are in any spot to ever consider something like, we're going to win this one for sure. And it goes back to, I remember the game that cost us the Super Bowl in 2018 was the Brock Osweiler game in Miami, and I remember doing the fantasy show back when the NFL Network used to do a fantasy show on Sunday mornings. And Brock Osweiler, was the emergency starter. I forget even who was Marcus, I don't know who the regular starter was. But I remember doing the show, and the people who are on the panel like, go out and pick up the Bears defense. I'm like, it never worked out this way for Chicago. Like, this is the worst. This is actually the worst news. I wish this wasn't happening right now, because now Chicago's not going to take them seriously enough, and this is going to end up poorly. And I predicted that Matt Nagy would sit on the football and hope that Cody Parkey could kick a 60-yard field goal. Actually, I didn't say that last part, but that's exactly what happened. So for me, I look at this and I'm like, you know what? We can't assume anything with the Carolina Panthers. They've looked much more competent with Andy Dalton at quarterback. Deontay Johnson's now playing really well. Xavier Leggett looks pretty good. Chuba Hubbard is running the football. And so for me, it looks like this is, again, you can't just take anything for granted in either one of these two games, even though we need Jacksonville to get on the board. We need Jacksonville to win this week so they're not going into London with an offer, because that just invites error. Like, that's the last thing that we need. We need, like with the Rams this week, honestly, I feel like it was to our benefit that they had beaten the San Francisco 49ers the previous week. We were making fun of Brandon Shagru, being like, oh, look at the bit red. Like, this is exactly what we needed the Rams to do. We needed Sean McVay to go out there and sun Kyle Shanahan and then come into Chicago a little bit more relaxed, not having to be as anxious or whatnot. And so, I would love to see, not thinking of the 4-1. I feel like, and I don't even want to look ahead to the Jacksonville game, but it's imperative to be 4-2 at the break. I thought we'd be 5-1, but it's imperative to be 4-2, because I think Washington's going to give us more trouble than we thought they would at the beginning of the season. And a big reason why is because of the style of defense that we play with the bend but don't break. Well, it's like, that's what Jaden Daniels does. Like, he dumps off and he only goes to the right side of the field and all that stuff. Like, that actually goes against us, because, we'll let him move right down the field, and then he's a good enough athlete to miracle a touchdown here and there. And then it puts us into a spot where now we have to answer with touchdowns, where we could hem in a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, as we did on Sunday. So I want to be 2-2 out of the London game, and go from there and see what happens. And then, still feel pretty confident. I know that Minnesota's playing some good football, but I don't think that they're resistant to mistakes or anything like that. I will say, though, and this is funny too, and this is what I hate about doing a fantasy show, is that people were praising Jordan Love today, and I'm like, what? Like, yo, look at the number 3 quarterback. And I'm like, watching Minnesota, first of all, Green Bay, believe it or not, you guys I want you to sit. I hope you're sitting for this. Green Bay got the benefit of a call against the Vikings, and replay. When you watch replay, you're like, oh, okay, well, replay should overturn this, because this guy's juggling the ball going to the ground. Like, nope, it's Green Bay. And we got a lot. This is a CBS national game. First down. Like, okay, great. So I thought Minnesota dominated them. So I feel better about where I thought like Minnesota were some spots like, we should be able to play pretty well against Minnesota. I think Minnesota's better than we thought they were. Green Bay's not as good as people think they are. People just love to promote Green Bay, but I don't know. I watched that game. I ask anybody who has the NFL Plus subscription to watch it tonight, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, they were getting murdered in that first half. Murdered.
Yeah, well, we certainly won't be promoting Green Bay in a positive light on this channel or this network. But to your point, we've got, Washington's playing better because their coach is putting their young quarterback in a good position. And when we talk about Matt Eberflus, or the defense finally taking down a good quarterback, what we also have to talk about is Matt Eberflus beating good coaches. And we were worried about Sean McVay. And, hey, Matt Eberflus was able to find a way to win that game. Crypto Wizard here in the chat saying 3 great networks coming together. You got Shayne Marsaw from the Tape Never Lies Network. Of course, Adam Rank from the Sick Podcast. And joining the show is none other than our guy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there he is.
I hope he wasn't listening earlier when I was doing the impression.
I was the only one that stuck up for you, by the way, Phil.
I wasn't listening.
He's got the great impersonation of you. Did
it live so we can watch and grade it later.
Yes, he did it live.
You can go, yeah.
We did it live. So
did it live.
Draft Dr. Phil.
What's up?
Joining us here from the Tape Never Lies Network as well, having some fun while Corey Wooten's on vacation with his beautiful family. Appreciate you.
The only reason why we can't come
can
on
join.
and hold
Why don't we make
stories
this? Look at this
accountable.
triumph. Like, look at this quartet. Like,
Yeah.
why isn't this a regular thing on some place, on
Two
some
of-
platform? At
Two
some
of my
place?
favorite people and Greg.
Yes.
No.
Why do I catch
No,
the stray? What did I do? What did I do?
You're supposed to
Easy.
say
That
he's
was a
the best
layup.
man you know, Phil. I
The
think that's
best man.
Best barbecuer I know.
Oh man, I did send a guy
Still
out
coming to
your
go
way
get
for.
pizza.
I did send a guy out your way for some pizza. He was working
Yeah.
in Philly, and they landed in Hartford, and I was like, make sure you head over to New Haven for the best.
Did he go?
He did. He did. He went to Sally's. I think the name of it was Sally's, right?
Sally's is if you like a sauce more than Sally's is like third on my list, but
Okay.
it is good. That one's more sauce and very, very thin.
All right. Well, let's
It's
get
third
into
on the
it.
list, but it's like being the third best Foo Fighter song in that it's still really good and probably
it's
better
very
than most of anything you're going to get.
Exactly.
Hey, Greg liked it though.
Greg loves
I
modern.
called and paid for Greg's dinner there, and when he found that out, he ordered 2 more pies to.
This is true. This is true. When Shane, all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, Shane got the tab," and I was like, "Oh, that's great. I'm actually getting a pizza to go as well." This is a true story. I actually
add another one. Yeah, I'll take the meatball.
Well, let's get into it, Phil, because you
Yes.
know, we're kind of kicking it around. We talked a little bit about the schedule just before you joined, but to start the show and kind of, you know, the foundation of what I want to talk about today was, you know, the adjustments that were made by the coaching staff and the offensive line. They were able to finally start running the ball like a competent offense does against a bad defense with the Rams and a beat up team in LA. But at the end of the day, you play who's on your schedule. You don't apologize for wins. And so, Phil, I know that you always are, you know, have a keen eye to, you know, coaching malpractice, and you've been strongly opinionated and vocal about your distrust for this coaching staff. So is there any semblance of hope on your end with what you saw from the Bears and the adjustments they made, specifically with the coaches first, and then if you want to, we can get into the offensive line after?
Yeah, I mean, you saw them actually course correct. There was a level of accountability from the offensive coordinator, how he articulated in front of the team and the press that he owned some stuff. And I don't know how you get to that point at this level. So for me, it's all false words unless it's put into action. And this Sunday, he did put things into action. And that's where it's a very important situationally that you use the right personnel, especially when you're running the football. I have zero respect for Chris Morgan and the run game coordinator, and I've shown the reasons why. This isn't personal. It's just showcase fundamentally the hype surrounding him has led me to this, you know, arranged marriage with him and Waldron. I didn't agree with that. I don't think you do that to a offensive coordinator, and it showed up. And this Sunday, it got better. The way they used Swift was the right way. And, you know, just certain situations still continue to baffle me. And I don't know why Blazing Game was a healthy scratch and you're using a center. I don't understand some of the personnel in regards to how they're running the football. They finally understand Rashawn Johnson might be the better goal line. Sure. I mean, it doesn't take the 4 of us to understand this in August, but somehow with the Bears, it does. So they corrected it though. So we see, I said on the show, Bears Hour Live post game, I go, okay, this is what they did. This is the right baby step. Shane and I were talking about. Now we've seen this before. We've seen this act with Matt Nagy, David Montgomery, 28 carries, 142 yards, 2 touch. Bears win. The next week we go out, throw 48 times, and we're trying. No, you got to stay with the same formula and stop with this minutia of saying, okay, we got to do what we're going to want to do. No, it's what you do well. That's where you force other people to stop you. That's where the Bears have lacked. You saw Caleb under center more, been begging for that. Less gun run, more under center, inside zone, toss, counters, traps, doing that kind of stuff, using that speed against that. That's why you brought this kid here.
Right.
And now you saw it. So will they now resort back to several guns and Wildcat and all this other? Can I swear on your show?
Yes,
Or no?
yeah.
Other bullshit that we see? Because that's where I have been treated as a fan. Right. I've seen it. I know it. And now, okay. Oh, excitement. Because you're helping Caleb by running the football. And right. Adam's 100% right. The Jaden Daniels hype train and all. It's dink and dunk, one side, one read. Here, I'm telling you, we said it in, and I know I'm rambling, but we said it. The last thing I was concerned about was Caleb, the rookie, was watching your offense. I'm like, people aren't watching what we're seeing. He's doing things that most rookies can't do. And the offensive line and the play caller weren't helping him. And this game, it's all coming together. I mean, I said it's hard to debate, but the throw to Cole Kmet over the middle, over the linebacker, we haven't seen that since Cutler throwing to Greg Olsen. I mean, circa, what is that?
2012? Yeah.
12.
It was an incredible throw. There's no question about it.
And the DJ Moore throw.
Yep.
I mean, that's what you could do after you've established the run, get action, and he's going to dime balls all over the place. In fact, I rarely shout out Mark Sanchez, but he deserved one when he pointed out DJ Moore stopping in his route, not running through it. That's that's a touchdown.
Right.
100%.
I want to ask you. I'm sorry, Phil. I'm going to interrupt you. I mean to interrupt you. I'm not going to apologize, but I'm going to mean to interrupt you. But I'm glad that you're on the show. I mean, I'm happy to see you. I thought that was deep. Like I was debating. I don't know why I spend time debating with people, but I'm like, they're like, he would have, I'm like, if he's on a dead sprint, like he should be right when he makes the move, I think that's one of the easiest touchdowns of the season.
That's 100%, Adam. On my level, youth football, it's very hard to teach these kids. You have to sprint. The quarterback's anticipating where you're going. They want to be open and catch. On the NFL level, 100 out of 100, that ball is just dimed to a sprint. He's thinking he's going. If you watch the play, and I will show it on tape, he starts trotting and gliding instead of sprinting through.
Yeah, DJ took accountability for it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
there you go. I didn't know that.
I didn't see that either. Sorry.
100%. That's a freaking. I mean, that is the kind of throw that we have not seen here. And I'll add Cutler to it. And I'm like, wow, this is big time. Hopefully they build off it. Go ahead, Greg.
So Shane, when we're talking about DJ Moore taking accountability for not finishing his route, he beats the guy in the double move, and then all of a sudden he slows up. Then everybody's chalking it up to miscommunication, but at the same time, you got to finish your route. Shane, just knowing you over the years, I know how big you are on like show me when no one's watching.
Yeah.
Be mannerisms that you can interpret. Okay, that is a leader versus that's somebody that's being a phony. And or showing off for the cameras. And DJ Moore's been through it the last few weeks. He had to own up for Sunday Night Football where they're catching him off the field, and he's visibly frustrated, after incompletions, throwing his helmet off. And then again in this game before the touchdown, you were starting to see that build up again where he's sitting by himself. There's fans at the stadium that were taking pictures and videos of him away from everybody, while the defense was on the field, and then all of a sudden they score a touchdown. I guess this is a two-layered question. How much do you feel like DJ Moore needs to step up more now that he's the highest paid? He's got the biggest contract in Chicago Bears history. And also, was that touchdown maybe something that was a breakthrough for them that maybe DJ can finally, take a deep breath and understand that he's got to reset this process, maybe as frustrating as that is for him, as many quarterbacks as he's been through in his career?
Well, yeah, I think that's what it is. And you 100% cannot discount the pressure that comes along with a big time contract, the generational wealth part of it. That is going to affect almost all players like that. Sign a big deal like that, and you have a certain amount in your head of, a benchmark that you essentially want to hit every week. And we've seen that this offense has been in a, pretty deep valley overall with the protection, rookie quarterback having some miscues, running game not getting going. So obviously DJ Moore is going to be a part of that. It's going to take some time, but all it takes is one play. We'll see how it is, but you want to talk about being a leader. You talked about the people showing the pictures of him sitting away from the team. They also showed a picture after that play. Who walked over to him and knelt down in front of him and talked to him? There was one guy, and that was number 18, Caleb Williams. That is being a leader. That's what. And listen, Caleb knows that. Caleb's not reading books on how to be a leader and then going out and telling everybody in the presser like Mitch did.
Yeah,
it was just odd. But yeah, that's all part of it. This offense, I told you guys how I feel about Shane Waldron. Proof is in the pudding. You got to show me. Is this offense going to improve? They definitely have the ability to. Are they going to have the personnel usage right? Is Matt Eberflus going to be a better situational head coach? He hasn't been to this point. That was the number one question for him coming into 2024. Situationally, you had to even just being mediocre would be an improvement. He's had some big gaffes so far. So that's a part of it. But the leadership aspect of it and the pressure that comes along with the contract, a big time prized rookie coming in, it's going to take some time.
Yep. And so you brought up Eberflus. So Rank, I'll throw this one to you because Matt Eberflus, has had some bad timeouts, some bad challenges, but it felt like from a, game strategy standpoint here in week 4, he was pretty clean. I mean, we're not used to having all 3 of our timeouts at the end of the half or at the end of the game. And those did come into play, when you look at, in the end of the first half, that 6-point swing where they miss a field goal and the Bears are able to go down and get a field goal themselves. The Bears end up winning by 6. And then at the end of the game, the way they burned the clock made, the Rams burn their timeouts. They weren't able to get that final first down to win the game. And so from your standpoint, how much of a step did Matt Eberflus take in a tough matchup for himself going up against Super Bowl champion Sean McVay, where everybody was like, hey man, this guy's going to, take your lunch money.
Yeah, but Sean Bay, I had mentioned this last week, is like there's times where you're like, what are the Rams doing? Like you just get a sense from him, and unless he's going up against Kyle Shanahan, sometimes you can take advantage of him. So I again, I thought the timeout situation was great. The Rams being forced into using one that when they didn't want to, I thought was good. I thought that the play that they called with on third down, where I really thought I was nervous. Like there were times during this game where I was nervous. Now, number one on the third, I'm like, they're going to throw the ball, just totally ridiculous. Like there's no need. And I think everybody knew, they're going to play action. They're going to fake it. And then Caleb's going to keep the ball. And that's just what they should do. And they didn't get the first down. They had to punt, but we've got, Torrey Taylor. So I'm not tripping when we're punting anymore. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. We'll go put the defense out there and see what happens. It reminds me of when Kirk Cousins played for the Vikings. You'd be like, oh, here's Kirk Cousins with a chance to win it. This is going to be a turnover. So I felt good about that. I felt good, though. I think the one key for me during this game is, and I hate to admit this, but when we got the pass interference on Keenan Allen at the goal line, I'm like, I actually was not happy. I'm like, son of a gun. Here it goes. It's happening again. I would have rather have just taken the field goal and just be done with it. We're kicking a field goal. We don't have to worry about it. We're not going to get lampooned in the national media for running the triple wing or whatever dumb thing we're going to do right now. But they actually went out there, ran a competent play, put the right running back in the right situation to go out there and score the football. And you're like, that to me was one of the things that I took away of you know what, that felt different. just the fact that like my anxiety of being on the 1 yard line hopefully will be dissipated now for at least 1 week. And it goes back to what Shane and Phil were talking about. It's like, a lot of this stuff was great. Like I'm not declaring anybody they learned their lesson. Listen, we all, or some of us, we all do, right? We all have children where you're like, hey, I need you guys to go out there and put your shin guards in the right spot. And they do for a day. And then the next day you're like, where the hell are your shin guards? Very easy to fall back into the bad habits. This is where this game is probably the most important, the most telling of what is this coaching staff going to do? Are they going to listen? I'll praise you. If you can go out and learn your lesson, you're going up against the Carolina Panthers. Outside of the Buffalo Bills, there is no team statistically that has been worse against the ground game than the Carolina Panthers. We saw what Cincinnati Bengals were able to do. Not only did Zach Moss go off, but my guy Chase Brown went off just as I predicted. I know I don't get humble brags on this show. That's fine. You got to go out there and show that you learned the lesson and be like, everything that you were doing was great. Like, again, before Phil came on, Phil, I'm talking about like, listen, you got your 2 running back rotation. You're dumping the ball off to DeAndre Swift when you need to. You're threading the needle to Cole Kmet. I love everything that they're doing. Keep that going. Keep that momentum going. This is the most important thing right now, is to show that not only did you learn the lesson, you're continuing to build on it.
Yeah, they got to build their identity through it.
Don't you remember in the offseason, though, leading up, Caleb can't play within structure. It's all
That's all he's been doing.
It's all hero ball.
Yep. None of that is happening in that game.
Exactly.
And he showed the kind of awareness. I mean, I'm sure I'll show it on the tape this week, but just watching the game, I'm just so impressed with how he was patient in the pocket and he was conscientious of the rush around him and ball security. And he was waiting for these drop downs and these things to happen, whether he was going to take a shot deep or going to drop it down to Swift or another running back, Rashawn Johnson. We had that penalty, bring that other play back, but you just saw the growth there.
It was maturity, right? I mean, for him to, I haven't had an opportunity to look at the all 22. I know it started to come out today, and I think I see somebody
tonight.
Somebody put together a super cut of the whole thing. I think I'm bearing down did, but so I haven't had the opportunity to know for sure that every check down was the perfect pass. But at the same time, it did feel like a mature performance by him. Like every time they dialed one up where it felt like they were going to go deep, he's checking it down for the first down, let his guy go out and make a play. So, you're right, Phil, the poise in the pocket, him making an effort to stay in the pocket. And then also not just the poise in the pocket, but the poise as the game goes on, because every game so far, they struggle for the whole first half. And then most quarterbacks we're used to have a meltdown by the fourth quarter because everything's going wrong. This guy has so far, been able to stay in the fight, maybe not win the game every time, but stay in the fight through the full 4 quarters. So poise in the pocket, poise throughout the game. I think those are the 2 biggest things you're seeing with consistency week to week. And now he's starting to process the blitz, understand what he's seeing in front of him a little more, protect himself a little more. And those are all encouraging signs as he takes week to week development. We did have a $20 super chat jump in here. This has got to be Gritty, who loves his photoshops.
Adonis rank.
Oh my God.
He's changed his name to Adonis Rank, and if you're watching on YouTube, the profile picture is certainly something. But he says Rank always picks us to win. He's the hero we need, not the one we deserve. Eberflus needs a kid who plays us Madden in the booth to explain clock management. That timeout before Torrey's last punt was so stupid. Take the delay. That's a really good point. I said the same thing.
Did you hear him today say that Torrey told him his sweet spot was the 45-yard line? And I'm like,
really?
Come on, man. Come on. What are you
covering his ass?
Stop.
Yeah. Because you saw you're an Alabama.
No, you know what? No, hold on. I believe Torrey Taylor on that. It's like playing golf. It's like, listen, I want it. I
I believe him. He's got a sweet spot, but you can't take a timeout there.
Take the delay.
Superstar.
It's 5 yards, Adam. His sweet spot can distance itself 5 yards.
You took
terrible head coach.
You took the 58-degree wedge out of his hands, and now you gave him a 50, which he's not as confident with. And then when he shanks it, I'll come back to this
69-yard bunt in the air. I think
yeah, but there's a like Rank's trying to bring with the golf analogy, Phil. There's a difference between bringing out your fairway 3-wood and your wedge that you're comfortable with at a certain distance to put it next to the pin, right, Rank?
Yeah, he's it's a nuanced
timeout philosophically, because you don't know if the Rams go down and score.
Right.
That's why.
You don't have
I'm with you guys. Instinctually, right away, I said the same thing.
This isn't a date at the prom with Sally Q.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Well, and I said the same thing, and we had a game the night before with the Alabama-Georgia game.
It is.
That was a perfect example. A touchdown flips the game in one play in the blink of an eye. You think Alabama's dead to rights, and then all of a sudden they get a big touchdown. So if that were to have had happened with a minute left on the clock, you need all 3 of those timeouts, and you have to be prepared for all of those situations. So yes, to whoever put that in or to our guy Gritty, I know it was you, Gritty, Adonis Rank, pointing that out. That probably was the big flaw at the end when we talk about game management.
Bring Eric's comment up, because this is the thing I want to correct.
Who do you want?
Eric Baccatin.
Eric Bochanton. Yeah.
His comment is exactly why coaching matters. It is a big deal because you're protecting yourself from anything failing you on the back end, which happens. So you have to think strategically. We're not worrying about the yards here. They decline it. We keep the timeout is the whole debate. I'm not worried about the yards. It's the timeouts to protect yourself.
Yep.
Again, it's situational.
Listen, I'm with you. I wouldn't have taken the timeout either.
You might have declined it, Adam.
But I still want to defend Tory Taylor's point, because I thought you guys were too dismissive of like, oh, there's no big thing. I'm like, it might be a big thing to him. Just like your golf clubs. Listen, when I get that 58,
if it was his 58 or 50 club, they were going to decline the penalty probably. So he's still in his sweet spot. It saved the timeout.
I'm with you. Yes.
He said
here's my 2 points I'm making.
Yes.
Don't take the timeout. And Tory Taylor probably is truthful in saying that was his sweet spot.
Yeah.
If Tory said it, I heard it, I'd believe it. But Matt said it, I don't believe it. I'm keeping it real with you.
Oh my gosh. This guy, he
field goal
sells
kickers,
shoes, Adam.
Hunter,
he's a shoe salesman, Adam. I don't believe him. My guy, Adam, I love you, buddy.
Is that the impression so far?
That's it. So, while we're on the Tory Taylor subject, as I continue to neglect this defense for the entire football season and only talk about the offense, and now we're going to talk about special teams and this punter, Tory Taylor, who really hadn't shown why he should have been drafted in the 4th round for the first 3 weeks of the season. I mean, there were glimpses,
but then from the 45.
But then all of a sudden, here in week 4, he absolutely explodes. So Shane, I'll start with you. I mean, it was a pretty impressive performance. I mean, we've had some great kickers and punters here throughout the history of the Chicago Bears. It's not easy to kick in Chicago. You saw the Rams kicker miss a field goal, a crucial one at that, because he didn't understand how to play the wind. Then he corrected himself on his next kick.
The Rams punter had a crazy punt.
Yep. His only punt of the day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, we talked about Tory Taylor needing to step up. I mean, 4th round draft pick. We were in on being all in 100%. On Tory Taylor in the 4th 100%. Round at TTNL. So we understand the talent, and I think a lot of people forget it's a 27-year-old rookie. It's a punter. It doesn't really matter, but still the talent is there. But to that point, you hadn't seen the holy shit moment for Tory Taylor, and you saw that by his reaction. I think the monkey got off his back, even on a couple of those
rookie
punts.
transferring. Yeah,
absolutely.
I saw the talent in the first few games, but to Greg's point, I think it just takes a little time to get comfortable. I'm the punter here, and he had that moment. And listen, I love this kid. And when you have this kind of, especially when you have this kind of defensive philosophy, when you're going to sit in these cover 3, cover 2 zone schemes, you have to have a field flipping punter. That makes the difference for this kind of defense, because when you're backed up into your own end zone and you're facing those zone coverages, it becomes very close in what you want to throw and throw at them, and they feed, and you saw it to end the game. And Darrell Taylor, I mean, hops that he has is pretty impressive, how he gets up in the air.
Yeah,
we've been seeing he's been somebody that not a lot of people are talking about. Obviously, the first game they talked about his sacks, but this is a guy Shane has talked about it. I'm with him, like just sticking with the defense. Sorry, Greg.
No, let's get to it. I neglect them.
The motor.
He's an extension worthy guy.
He is somebody you want to put to the future of this team. The way he plays is the perfect pitcher in the rotation with Montez Sweat. You put him in and you get that nonstop energy motor that somebody on the opposite side knows he's that way. And what I do on my side is going to either help him or he's helping me. That you can't even put a value to that when you're trying to rush passers in this league. And he's strong, underrated strength at the point of attack, but that motor
and young,
and he's young, and the freaking hops that this kid has.
Yeah.
Well, he finished the game with a spin cycle to get to the quarterback, which led to Jaquan Brisker getting the interception.
Yes.
So, I mean, now, you know, you have week 1 where they don't win that game week 1 against the Titans without Darrell Taylor.
Nope,
and now week 4, you know, obviously there was a lot of different components that went into winning that football game, but Taylor makes the final seal the deal play, doesn't even give the Rams the thought that they're going to move down the field and make the Bears sweat, which, you know, we were all anticipating. Yeah, exactly. We're not used to it finishing that easy, especially after the fourth.
Sanchez wanted him flagged for helmet to helmet.
Yeah, why does Mark Sanchez, does he feel like he has to be like so non-biased going against his former team that he doesn't want to show any impropriety? Like Tony Romo doesn't talk that way about the Cowboys. Why does Mark Sanchez take on his former team like that? That's the thing. But I want to ask you guys, because I don't know. I know the philosophy and everything, and I get it, but it's like sometimes I get frustrated that we can't get off the field. Not that everything needs to be a 3 and out, but I feel like there's some times where we'll have a team in a 3rd and 12, and it's like, why the F are they getting a first down
Deep
here?
in.
I don't listen. I understand the philosophy. I really do. And you know, if teams move the ball, like we're not giving up big plays, we're not giving up a lot of touchdowns. That's fine. But it's like, you know, it might help maybe if we could get off, like if I could sit there when it's 3rd and 12 and feel comfortable, like, yeah, we're probably getting off the field. Every time I actually feel better when it's 3rd and 3.
Yeah.
I think it's better off.
Right.
Well, I like Jalen Johnson's message. That's been his reoccurring message here week to week. Like, hey, we're not playing good enough. And I like that attitude, you know, and not everything always needs to be sunshine and rainbows, as Phil likes to say. And Jalen's certainly trying to hold himself and this team and that defense specifically to a higher standard. You know, Alex Brown and Lance Briggs talk about Lovie Smith used to have like 6 different criteria of what they had to meet if they wanted to consider themselves an elite defense. And, you know, apparently, you know, of those 6, they didn't hit any of them here on Sunday, you know, and you got to have 200 less passing yards and less than 100 rushing yards and less than 17 points in the game. And at the end of the day right now, they're bend but don't break. But the defense also gave up more scoring drives to the Rams. The Rams had more scoring drives than the Bears did, even though the Bears won 24-18 and they missed a field goal. So, you know, when you consider all that, there certainly is room for improvement there. And, you know, at the end of the day, we're leaning on the defense a lot here in the first quarter of the season, as Lovey used to say. But at the same time, you know, I do think the issue, and this is where, like, when you look ahead to Washington, not looking ahead to really anybody at the end of the day, but just looking at your schedule in general, you know, the Rams were able to run the ball with effectiveness. The Colts were able to run the ball with effectiveness. The only reason the Colts couldn't pass the ball is because Anthony Richardson doesn't know how to pass the ball. But Matt Stafford can run those deep ins and those deep curls. And as the linebackers get sucked in, and Phil, you can speak to this better than I can, but as those linebackers start to suck in because of the run game effectiveness, now all of a sudden it starts to look wide open there, right?
Well, this is the problem. And it's to Adam's point, and Shane and I have talked about this for years. Here, when you're in this kind of defensive philosophy, and it has not happened enough under Matt Eberflus, there's the ability to go to two-man coverage. And now you're manning up and you're alleviating those deep ends because they're matched up man and those two free safeties. You have to stop giving the same looks on 3rd and 15, 3rd and 14, because it's just continuously happening. And it's frustrating. And I say the same thing to Adam. I'd rather see 3rd and 6.
Yeah.
Because then
Tutu Atwell goes from 5'6" to 6'4", and there's nobody around.
It's infuriating. Like, take the guesswork in their zone out of it in 3rd and longs. Be a little bit more aggressive. That is something Eberflus did down the stretch last season. We saw it. You have the talent. I mean, you have the corners.
Where it's going to change, Phil, and this isn't a dig at Gervon Dexter, who is still on his ascension, but when they get their true 3-tech, when they get their Tommy Harris, that's going to change a lot of things. Those deep ends are going to become a lot harder.
When you get that interior penetration. I mean, to Dexter, I was the biggest disappointed draft analyst. I didn't think he should have been that pick. I didn't think he was a 3. He has done everything to thwart any kind of analysis I had of him, and credit to him. He's been outstanding in his work ethic, rebuilding his body, understanding that, and also his fundamental hand usage and everything. He's gone after it, and he's become a huge asset to this defense at 6'7". I mean, he's a big man, 6'6", moving like that, getting that kind of penetration. It goes beyond saying, but certainly just 2 points here in conservativeness. Matt Eberflus becomes too conservative defensively. You have the horses. It's one thing when you don't, but you got a 6'4" middle linebacker, 6'5", right? And you have these corners that are physical and athletic, including one of the better nickel corners in the league. There is no reason why you're sitting in these bracket zones or these soft zones, getting those linebackers sucked up. No, 3rd and 15. They're not running. Let's man up, put this middle fucking linebacker who's 6'4", 6'5", and let him throw in the middle of the field. You got deep 3rd right there. And you shut it all down. The Bears defensively have the horses. So it's like the only other issue I have defensively is Walker. Using him as a defensive end.
Yikes.
It's just you have the other guy, Booker, Sweat. You got the kid from Wyoming who made the team, 92. I don't know why his name is
Daniel
Hardy. And you got my guy, Darrell Taylor, with Montez. There's no reason why Walker is so much better interior as a rusher than he is out of edge. He becomes a waste.
They've got the horses, no doubts. And I'm hoping that start to get more strategic here. Like, again, we keep looking at Washington, but if half-field reads are Jaden Daniels' thing, maybe having Jalen Johnson be on that side of the field might do you something good. Make sure you're becoming a diehard here at CHGO Sports, allchgo.com/diehard. a lot of different opportunities for you guys when you decide to become a diehard, and you get a free shirt. We got these new shirts that just dropped. The Claws Up shirt. We got the franchise collection, a lot of different things at your disposal. And then, of course, discounts on all our events, like our tailgates and, upcoming trips. We're going to be heading to Arizona here in a few weeks after we get back from London. You can still sign up at truefantravel.com and join us out in Arizona. I know Adam Rank's going to be making the trip over there as well after he's done coaching his soccer championship. We got two, Hall of Fame.
Now we have another elite level coach.
Hall of Fame worthy coaches have
like
joined
youth
us here.
Sports.
Coach Rank, Coach Atoshin.
This is what I want to do. I think Phil and I need to go sit down and just chop it up about coaching youth sports, because I think we could. I talk about it too much. I'm sure
a huge thing going on right now. That's why I was a little late tonight. It's crazy, the youth sports. So we should do that, because then I can unveil this crazy cheating. We'll just put it that is going on in youth sports. I've never seen anything like this in my life. But yes, I would love to do that, Adam, because it is. I mean, did you see the video footage in Florida with the parents have a full-on brawl?
Yeah,
off the sideline in youth football.
I'm always worried about that. Like we keep having these, like, I know who the coordinators are for our region at AYSO, and I always see them. I know when they're on the other sideline that they're there to watch those parents. And one of them showed up for my U7 boys last week, and he's like, Adam, whose side are you on? I'm like, my side, my son's playing. He said, no, idiot. Like, what sideline are you guys camped on? I'm like, we're on. He's like, oh, I'm going to that one. And I'm like, oh, you're going to go watch somebody and it's not us. Yes. But it's wild. Like, we have a big match this weekend, and like the parents are already talking. I talked to Ian Rappaport about this, because he coaches Friday Night Lights, and he's in the same league as Kyle Brandt, and Kyle's team's really good and Ian's is not so bad. And I'm like, hey, do they make fun of you? And he's like, you don't even want to know. And I do get these parents who are like, yeah, we want to beat you. I'm like, Jesus. Like, it's U10, okay? Like, these are 9-year-old girls. Like, leave them alone. Let them go out there and play some soccer. It doesn't need to be that serious.
Yeah, my son's soccer game Saturday. Father got escorted off the field. It's crazy,
man.
I'm not quite there with Addison. She's 6, so she's in sports, but it's not at the level of seriousness, of competitiveness there yet.
Oh, you'll be under control, Greg. We know you.
Yeah, if there's anything I'm known for, it's being calm, cool, and collected.
Oh yeah, not meatballing during an AYS.
Weeder said the same thing about you. No meatball there.
Of course. But I will say, I did show some poise. Talk about Caleb Williams' poise, but. I had the pimple pop up. You can see a little bit here, and I was panicking, but I made adjustments.
Should I upload that video?
Use the cover up?
This is why I'm glad you're not running the controls, Shane, because it would have already been up 6 times in this show. But the pimple curse has been popped.
You have all the cover up and stuff?
Yes, I got the cover up. I did it the mature way instead of trying to stab it to death like I did in the 2019 Bears Packers season opener. Yes, and Jenny provides me with makeup if need be.
My wife is a makeup artist, Adam, so anytime.
There it is. Hold on. I got to make sure this isn't
the pimple.
This isn't a weed pen or something. No, that's actual just
2019. What was that pimple gate, Shane? 2019.
Yeah, that's why JJ left for Indy.
I'll send some out to you, buddy. I got you covered.
Yeah,
we're probably similar. We're both the NW35.
The curse of the pimple, first JJ Stankovitz, then my next one causes the collapse of NBC Sports Chicago. So I don't know. I don't know what it must be my face. I don't know. So regardless, we appreciate you guys coming on. Tape Never Lies Network, well represented here with Shayne Marsaw, the smartest man, and of course, Draft Dr. Phil Atoshin. Make sure you subscribe to their channel along with Adam Rank over at the Sick Podcast. I'll be joining him on Wednesday as we start to look ahead to the Carolina Panthers and have some more fun looking at this 500 football team. We appreciate everybody hanging out here as we're up against, a doubleheader as The Titans and Dolphins are at halftime.
Nobody wanted to watch the Titans anyway, so we're fine.
Well, it's still a good game, 6-3. I heard Will Levis might have got benched. Somebody was saying that in the chat, but I hadn't seen it yet. But the Lions,
yeah, what's that?
Lions, Seahawks. Lions are, spoiler alert if those of you are watching it after, but it's 14-7 right now. Lions with the leads. DK Metcalf had a big score. He had a fumble that went the other way for a touchdown that made it 14-0, and then responded with a big catch.
Mason Rudolph is in, by the way. They pulled out.
Supposedly, Gary Franklin said he got hurt.
Okay.
Not benched. Will Levis.
Well, we'll let everybody get to it and watch their Monday Night Football doubleheader here. But again, we appreciate everybody hanging out. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Rank, you got anything else? I see you were making a face.
No, I was laughing at Derek Carter. Like, what a goofball. Dude, I got a bunch of makeup here.
Well, there's a lot of goofballs in our chat. A lot of goofballs in our chat
anymore, Derek.
A lot of goofballs in all of our chats. It's just part of the territory with covering the Chicago Bears.
Do you get that Lions fan that hangs around?
Johnny Burr
now.
Yeah. He's always there.
He's everywhere. Does he even follow the Lions, or does he just come in to talk about the Bears all the time?
He's the most loyal Chicago Bears podcast supporter we have, and we all appreciate Don Burr.
I love him.
His consistency to the
I love him.
So, but we'll let
Sammy always wants to get rid of him. I'm like, no, let him do whatever.
Just
don't show us stuff.
Yes, that's right, Guy Finley. It's the Meatball Meltdown After Hours here on CHGO Bears After Dark. That's what we call our after we get past the full hour. That's when my brain starts to melt and I just start saying complete nonsense through the mic, which I normally do in the first hour of our shows typically as well. But once again, thank you to all you guys here jumping on here tonight, having some fun, talking some football. We will make sure to do it again, I promise. And Corey's also invited, but I know that you guys have busy schedules, so I appreciate you guys carving out time to entertain our viewers here tonight. So we'll catch you tomorrow at noon. Adam Hogue, Mark Carmen back in studio. See who's on the docket, who's going to be joining us. Maybe a special guest or two. You just never know. But we'll catch you at 1 p.m. Central, our new time for the weekdays after the press conferences have wrapped. But I don't think there's no there isn't any pressers on Tuesdays, but that is why we changed it to the 1 p.m. slot. So enjoy your Monday Night Football. Thank you to everybody hanging out. Thank you, Shane, Phil, Adam. We'll see you tomorrow. Victory Monday. Enjoy it. See you tomorrow. Always bear down.
We all silly like the mayor.
Dude.